Fang Yang Chuang became the leader of the demon cult, but his skills were exhausted and his memory was completely lost. I only took over a pile of diaries left by the demon. Discovering that the demon is a sea king, with beautiful confidants spread throughout the world, and everyone hates him to the bone. In order to save his life, he had to pretend to be a demon and navigate among many beauties, one by one, according to his diary. Princess, the moonlight is so beautiful tonight. Why don't we enjoy the moon together? Princess Zhennan. Your Majesty, be modest. For the sake of the people of the world, let's end here. Empress. Tour, turn around, it's impossible between us. Female apprentice. At this point, Fang Yang racked his brains and fully unleashed his acting skills. Passing through a myriad of flowers, leaves do not touch the body. But he always felt that the gaze of the many beauties at him was strange. It wasn't until many years later that he realized. The devil likes to fantasize, but diaries are fake. Looking at the Shura field in front of him, he sighed with emotion. A serious person, who writes a diary. Keywords of the novel. My female apprentice, everyone has ulterior motives without pop-ups. My female apprentice, everyone has ulterior motives. Download the complete text, My female apprentice, everyone has ulterior motives. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. This is the Demon Lord, recommended for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. This is the Demon Lord, recommended for collection. I am the Blood Rain Demon Lord, majestic and sweeping across the world. For the rest of my life, besides killing, I love beauty the most. Moreover, my majestic demeanor is boundless. People give me a beautiful name. Emperor of Colors. Among the top 10 beauties in the world, I alone occupy 9 of them. From the empress who ruled over the Tang dynasty to the charming flower queen, they all have a taste for it. And 5 women with national beauty and heavenly fragrance were recruited as disciples, carefully taught, and all became masters, so I took them as ding furnaces. Extremely favored. The eldest disciple has a cold and aloof personality, wielding a stunning sword to conquer the wilderness. The second disciple is skilled in strategy and is known as the reincarnation of the heavenly calculation, dominating the temples. The 3 disciples are innocent, but they are murderous demons. They carry knives but not umbrellas on rainy nights. The 4 disciples' seductive nature is perfect, and all the women's secrets they cultivate, with every frown and smile, men are all fascinated by their minds. The 5 disciples are the proudest, and heroes from all over the world are not eye-catching. I know that all 5 disciples hate me to the bone and constantly want me to die, but I don't care. My strength is enough to sweep everything. The little charm between these bed curtains only adds excitement. But these are still not enough. The wife of an enemy, the daughter of an old friend. I have heard that the Prince of Zhennan has a queen, who is round and beautiful, and who has devoted herself to the country. I have been searching for her, and over time, I have developed feelings for her. On March 1st, Princess Zhennan, Demon Lord Tower. On March 2nd, Princess Zhennan, Tingtao Pavilion. On March 3rd, Princess Zhennan, by the Rockery Lake. March 4th. March 5th. Under the dim yellow light, a young man with a pale face and a head full of sweat. Looking at the pile of yellow diaries in front of me, I sighed repeatedly. His name is Fang Yang. In his past life, he was an ordinary employee. Due to her unremarkable appearance, she was mistaken by the boss for having an affair with the boss's wife. He was constantly wearing small shoes. He hates being slandered the most in his life. Go and die at overtime during the day, and also at night. Sudden death in the end. Traversing to a world in this area called the Blood Rain Demon Lord. This Demon Lord, who debuted in his 20s, is exceptionally talented. In just 15 years, the world was suppressed. It is frightening to hear the wind. Apart from liking to reunite his enemy's family, I also have a little hobby, beauty. In this aspect, his talent is even unparalleled compared to martial arts. For 15 years, we have been continuously cultivating every day. In the end, after being locked down for a month, he became possessed and died. It was Fang Yang who caught a leak. Pop pop. Candles occasionally make a noise. Fang Yang rubbed his brow and closed the 99th diary, feeling restless. The demon lord who travels through and suppresses the world seems not to be a bad thing. But the problem is that his current situation is already precarious. He traveled here yesterday. As soon as I arrived, I realized that there was no memory of my predecessor in my mind. Lose all your internal strength. After resting for a long time and rummaging through boxes and cabinets in the darkroom, I finally found these diaries left by the demon lord Fang. Just like criminals like to return to crime scenes, Fang Mo Zun also likes to record his spotted evil deeds. From the first day of his debut, to the moment he shook the world, it can be said that there are no details, and I have recorded all of my actions. Even reflection and insight. A villain with talent, perseverance, and the ability to reflect. No wonder they succeeded. It was through these diaries that Fang Yang gained a superficial understanding of his predecessor. After understanding, one sighs with emotion. In this world, high-level cultivators like to close the dead level. Master of the Dharma body realm like the demon lord is even more so. Often closed for 10.5 days. However, a powerful existence like him, closed to death, once possessed by a demon and trapped in the door of death, emits a peculiar aura. Also known as lifelessness. Those who enter the gates of death are close to death. Even if you get rid of it by chance, it will still be within 3 days. Otherwise, if one dies, or is still in the door of death, the lethargy will continue to exist. But like the demon lord this time, death has been lingering for a month. Basically, there is no doubt that one will die. Previously, perhaps due to the old demon's lewd power, no one dared to inquire. But with the passage of time, many people in the church have started to be restless. There have been 2 groups of people inquiring about it since yesterday. Although they were all fooled by him. But it can't sustain for too long. Over the years, the demon lord has been arrogant and has provoked many enemies. Even in the Blood Rain Pavilion, there are enemies present. However, the demon lord from the beginning had unparalleled martial arts skills. Enough to suppress and make everyone dare not act recklessly. But when he first arrived, he lost all his skills. Any enemy seeking revenge is likely to die. Especially the 5 female disciples who were personally passed down by the demon lord. Over the years, I have hated the demon lord to the bone. Attempted to commit murder several times. To know this, the first one has to bully the teacher and destroy the ancestor. Maybe it's already on its way here now. So want to live. He must pretend to be the same as the devil. Same expression, same behavior. Even the same day and night labor. Imitate him, become him, surpass him. In short, it must not be exposed. As a traveler, you seem very discouraged. It's okay, this is your great opportunity. The original owner is dead, and the harem is empty. You can take advantage of the opportunity to enter. Go, fight. From now on, there's no woman in the secret room. Not even anyone else. Ahem, there's a pen holder on the table. Shut up. Fang Yang's head is covered in black lines. After crossing over yesterday, he found waves of voiceovers echoing in his mind. Be patient and persuasive. Enchanting people. But if we really do what the other person says, I'm afraid his 9 lives are not enough to survive. Still practicing double cultivation. Others practice double cultivation, mutual assistance and complementarity. But the double cultivation with a significant gap in realm is a one-sided absorption. The other party is rushing, he is sucking hard. Isn't it clear that you despise being exposed too late? Let out a sigh. Fang Yang knew he couldn't waste any more time. According to the diary record. Get up and imitate the original temperament and gaze. The demon lord became famous at a young age and was domineering and majestic. It must be invincible. Just lean toward Sakamoto's boss for this. Moreover, this guy's lust is overwhelming. In my eyes, there is always a hint of lust. Fang Yang is a very skilled performer. Extremely strong psychological qualities. Otherwise, it would not have been possible in the previous life for the landlady to persistently pursue the company. Communicate business in front of the boss. So he pondered while practicing. After about a stick of incense, he perfectly integrated his persona. Every move, no anger, no self-respect. Just by looking at the aura, it is already 7 or 8 parts similar to Fang Mo-zun. But even so, he is still not satisfied. Continue polishing. Until dong dong dong. Outside the secret room, there was a knock on the door. Demon Lord, the Princess of Zhennan has come to visit you. Also. Sword Hall Master, Shocking Sword, Yi Qinghong heard that you have been locked down for a month and died. He was worried and rushed back after traveling thousands of miles overnight, determined to see you. I can't stop you anymore. Shua. Fang Yang's face darkened. What should have come is still here. He had long speculated that these 5 disciples of the Demon Lord would not easily let go of the news that the Demon Lord had been locked down for a month and his life and death were uncertain. But I didn't expect these people to be so impatient. Hurry back to the demon sect overnight to investigate the situation. Now, it's just the eldest disciple. I'm afraid there will be the other 4 villains next, right? It's really true that filial piety is profound. Squeak. Accompanied by the sound of opening the door. Fang Yang walked out of the room expressionless. Wearing a black robe, the evil energy is overwhelming. That calm yet majestic appearance is even stronger by 3 points than before. Demon Lord. Demon Lord. Seeing Fang Yang leave the pass, a group of subordinates guarding outside the passage hurriedly knelt down. His face turned pale, and his eyes were filled with fear. It is enough to prove the terrifying impression left by the Demon Lord in their hearts. Fang Yang stood still and gave these people a cold glance. When everyone lowered their heads and trembled all over, they turned around and walked outward. Look at the back of Fang Yang as he leaves. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Just now, they even felt like the sky was about to collapse. Strange, the Demon Lord hates it the most when someone disturbs him in seclusion. This time, he didn't punish us. A subordinate carefully muttered a sentence. I feel that the Demon Lord is not doing well. The next moment a shadow appeared before my eyes. Pop. A crisp and sharp slap on the face in an instant, he was pulled away. Spit out fresh blood in the air. When it fell to the ground, several bloody teeth had already been spat out of its mouth. A group of trash, unable to stop even a person. For the sake of your hard work outside for a month, let's give it a break for now, let's not do it again. Leave this sentence behind. Fang Yang snorted coldly and turned around to leave. The guards shuddered. The guard who just received a slap in the face also got up. Nod satisfied. I'll just say, this is the Demon Lord. The internal investment has passed, so rest assured to invest. Newcomers and new books, please ask for everything. End of this chapter. 2, Chapter 2 Princess Zhennan, recommended for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Princess of Zhennan, recommended for collection. At this moment, outside the rockery where the darkroom is located. A plump and round woman is leaning against the railing to gaze. The strong wind blew up her gorgeous and intricate long skirt. Her graceful body was faintly visible. Expose a flawless cheek. Her icy skin is translucent, and her temples are like fragrant snow on her cheeks. Not as worldly as a woman in the dust, nor as youthful as a young girl in the prime of her youth. Instead, there is a dignified demeanor that has long held high positions. And the desolation of being in a desperate situation. She is not someone else. It was the wife of the Tang dynasty's Prince Zhennan and the Princess Zhennan. Tang dynasty Rouge ranking first. The glory is unparalleled. In addition, the Prince of Zhennan has died, and the Queen is left as a widow. It will attract more heroes to compete and bow down. She should have lived a peaceful life in the prince's mansion in Zhennan. Cooked ingredients, 3 years ago, when I went to a temple to pray for blessings. But he was abducted to the mountain by the demon lord. Becoming a canary captive by the demon lord. Meow. A faint cat cry sounded, like a baby crying, waking up the princess of Zhennan. Let her heart tremble. Lower your head. I happened to bump into a pair of glass like emerald green eyes. This is a lioness cat, covered in snow white. There is no stray hair. It was bought by a maid while she was still at the prince's mansion in Zhennan. We were also caught together in the Blood Rain Tower. It has been 3 years now. For the past 3 years, the lion cat has frequently been in heat. Weeping day by day. Unfortunately, there are no male cats on the mountain. So, I could only stay empty in my boudoir, with a gloomy gaze. Cats are still like this, let alone humans. The princess of Zhennan sighed softly and bit her lips tightly. My jade legs have been twisted together at some point. 3 years ago, when she was taken to the mountain by that demon. I was already desperate and would permanently fall into hell. After all, that demon is notorious for his lewd power. She will definitely be subjected to various forms of humiliation. She was even prepared to commit suicide with 3 feet of white silk. The clinker has arrived at the headquarters of the demon cult. She was imprisoned in the palace. Becoming a canary, one is not allowed to step out of the palace. Not even able to interact with outsiders. For 3 years, the demon didn't even touch her finger. Her gaze was also filled with disgust, as if looking at a fly. She secretly observed. Not just her, the demon seems to be like this to all women. At that time, she felt that this kind of gaze was very familiar. Later, I learned a top-secret news. Originally, Fang Yang Demon Lord, who was known as the Emperor of Colors outside, actually detested women the most and did not mention them. And it's on a psychological level. Even though he is a demon lord and can search for the world's miraculous medicines, he still cannot be cured. Long-term impotence has gradually made him mentally abnormal. Extremely insecure and extremely hating women. But at the same time as hatred, there is also a strange desire. As far as the queen knows, the demon lord keeps a diary every day. The credibility of other things in the diary is extremely high, but once it involves male-female relationships. Then I entered a moment of fantasy, madly fabricating and fabricating. Imagine having relationships with many women. She had unintentionally come across these diaries. That detailed yet absurd vulgar description. Make her blush with embarrassment and anger. I wish I could tear up my diary. To keep the secret of my impotence. The demon lord searches for a woman in the martial arts world every few months. Bring it back to the Blood Rain Tower, and soon the woman will mysteriously disappear without anyone knowing her whereabouts. The reason why she wasn't touched. Just because she has a secret, she has some value in using the demon. But she still doesn't want to be a canary. I have been eagerly waiting for an opportunity. And now, she finally waited. This time, the demon was shut down for an unprecedented month. Many people in the sect are spreading about the misfortunes of the demon. So she risked provoking the demon and came over. A white wrist trembled. A jade-studded hairpin slid out of the sleeve. Sharp and cold. The queen clenched her hairpin tightly, with a resolute expression in her eyes. 3 years of imprisonment. Today, it's time to end. She doesn't hate the demon taking her away, anyway she and the prince are also superficially married. And, without any emotion. She is just a vase and puppet of the Zhennan prince's mansion. But she hated the demon for making her the laughing stock of the whole world, and even more hated the 3 years of imprisonment that made her feel like a walking corpse, confused and disoriented. Until now, she has no longer had any worries about this world. I just want to die with that demon. Regardless of whether the other party has gone crazy or not. She has to make a final move. First, let's compromise. Fake tenderness, even pretending to be in love with the other person. When the other party relaxes their guard. A hairpin pierced the demon's throat. Anyway, that demon hates women so much, he definitely won't take advantage of her. It's a perfect match for both. Thinking of this foolproof solution, the queen nodded with satisfaction. Fang Yang left the rockery chamber and was still recalling the slap he had just received. Although the predecessor was possessed by a demon, his power dissipated. But the body has long been tempered to the extreme, and it is still easy to clean up a servant. However, I didn't fully immerse myself in the demon mentality just now. Without the ruthlessness of the other party. If it weren't for that person muttering and being heard by themselves. We will leave behind a hidden danger. Outside the secret room, the light shines brightly and the sky is bright. Fang Yang's mood improved slightly and he looked forward. I happened to see a round and beautiful shadow, leaning against the railing to gaze. The other party was wearing a gorgeous long dress, with 3,000 green threads flowing down naturally like silk. Graceful and charming, the city is breathtaking. He couldn't move his eyes at once. Dress up through the other person's attire. Fang Yang immediately recognized that this person should be the princess of Zhennan, Han Lingxian, as recorded in her diary. Even if he had already guessed about this legendary beauty of the Tang dynasty. But at the first glance, I couldn't help but feel dazed for a moment. A voiceover sounded in my ear at the right moment. Sleeping trough, so beautiful. As soon as you took your first step out of the secret room, you couldn't help but be amazed by the beauty of the person in front of you. With a demonic heart and mind, why can that demon become a bandit? I can't be. Your heart is boiling hot and you see no one around, the pavilion is beautiful, but you can lean against the railing. Fang Yang's head is covered in black lines. Directly blocked the borderless narration. Recalling the details of the devil's affair with the princess of Zhennan in the diary. Take a deep breath. His face darkened. On his handsome face, he wore a domineering and charismatic smile like that of a CEO. Place your toes on the ground. His terrifying physical condition made him soar. Just 1 foot ahead of the opponent. For a moment, a faint fragrance came, refreshing the heart and soul. The smile on his face became even more brilliant. The demon is right in front of us. As an ordinary person, Han Lingxian naturally couldn't sense Fang Yang's breath. I don't know if Fang Yang has become weak at this moment. But she can't care too much anymore. No turning back arrow when bowing. At this moment, she lightly bit her vermilion lips. Smiling dimples are like flowers. Suppressing fear and disgust. Demon Lord, you have finally passed the level, and I don't have to worry like before, he said softly. She moves forward step by step. Due to being a noble princess before, she had no experience of being a fox seducer. Smiles and movements are a bit stiff. But her beauty is enough to make up for everything. The southern princess of this town is indeed having an affair with the demon. Otherwise, how could someone who has been kidnapped be so intimate with the demon? It can't be Stockholm Syndrome, can it? However, my performance was too successful. The princess of Zhennan, who was lying next to her, didn't notice anything unusual. I really thought I was the original demon lord and continued to follow the plan. Fang Yang pondered inwardly, feeling uplifted. There was also a soft smile on the face. Seeing this smile, the queen's heart was also stirred. My performance was so successful. The demon, such a cunning and vicious person, didn't even notice anything unusual. I thought I fell in love with him and continued to follow the plan. Both of them have their own ulterior motives. Getting closer, the queen tightly grasped the hairpin in her hand, her face flushed with excitement, and she trembled all over. The plan is becoming increasingly perfect. The demon is not aware of the secret that he knows he cannot be humane. If you are so affectionate, the other party will definitely take it lightly. But at the moment when the two of them really want to come into contact, the other person's extreme aversion to women will definitely erupt. Push yourself aside. It will also be taken lightly. At that time, it was my best opportunity. Everything is as planned by Han Lingxian. The demon disguised himself in order to conceal his inhumane secrets. There was even a lewd smile in his eyes. My breathing is getting faster. It seems like I can't hold it down anymore. He pretend to be quite similar. I guess I'm almost nauseous in my heart, right? I just want to disgust you, demon. The queen sneered inwardly. Twist your waist and continue moving forward. I'm about to sneak into the other person's arms. Demon, should you reach out and push me away? She clenched her hairpin and sneered incessantly. I only feel that everything is within the plan. There is no last resort. Finally, under her stirring gaze, the demon lord raised his big hand. Suddenly embraced her light waist. I patted a graceful arc with a snap. Make a crisp sound. Then, bowing down, there was a deep kiss. The queen's delicate body stiffened and her jade legs softened. My mentality is exploding. My novel title and introduction have been reviewed and changed, it's too outrageous. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. First Disciple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. First Disciple. Thunder triggers earth fire. The world seems to be frozen. Han Lingxuan's beautiful eyes widened and her whole body stiffened. My mind is blank. After a long time, the two parted ways. Fang Yang raised his head, only feeling the fragrance lingering on his lips and teeth. My heart is becoming more and more proud. Just now, he saw Han Lingxuan's face flushed and trembling all over. Obviously begging for mercy. The eldest disciple is still waiting for him, and he cannot delay any time. The bento machine immediately offered some small favors. It seems that the other party is quite satisfied. However, the seduction of the queen is indeed not something that ordinary people can bear. He almost couldn't control it anymore. Fang Yang reached out and gently caressed Han Lingxuan's 3,000 green threads. Get close to the other person's sparkling earlobes. You go back to the backyard and wait, I'll find you tonight. After speaking, he left with great enthusiasm. Only Han Lingxian remained standing there dumbfounded. Her delicate body was scorching hot, and her cheeks were flushed. Almost able to drip blood. Since. Was I kissed? Was he forcibly kissed by this demon? What exactly is going on? Isn't this demon extremely averse to women? Why is this happening? She gritted her teeth, lost in thought. My heart is filled with sorrow and anger. A grand princess. When was someone so humiliated? And she took the initiative to deliver it to her door. Han Lingxian glanced over and noticed several disciples of the demon sect looking towards her in the distance. Suddenly, there was a sudden realization. Being inhumane is an absolute taboo of the demon. For so many years, the other party has been hiding this secret. Just now, the demon must have seen a guard present. So I endured my nausea and maintained my persona. But it's really too embarrassing. And why is her body so hot? That's a demon. Is it? Because I was imprisoned for 3 years. Her heart was in turmoil. There are some water stains on the hem of the skirt. My face turns white and red at times. Her delicate body trembles. Although I didn't kill the demon just now, I successfully disgusted the other party. I have already planted a demon in the demon's heart, and sooner or later he will go crazy. The princess gritted her silver teeth tightly, and the feeling of losing just now dissipated a lot. Even some small gains. Tonight, the demon will come back to find me. This is my best opportunity. In the meantime, I will boldly seduce him again. I will definitely seek revenge. Another perfect plan has been generated. The queen has a confident mind. Just about to return to the backyard of the demon palace. The white snow lion cat, which had been lying in her arms all along, whimpered and called out for spring. Glass-like eyes, increasingly melancholic. Even some. Jealous. Facing the gaze of her own cat, for some reason, the queen felt a little guilty. You sucked your mouth, only to feel a fragrant aroma, and a sense of evil suddenly rose in your heart. With such a graceful figure, if you pull out your hairpin and grab the green silk. The sound of white voices echoed again. Fang Yang was too lazy to pay attention, just looking at the slowly unfolding water curtain in front of him. Name. Fang Yang marriage. 1. What is this marriage relationship? Is it something that cannot be achieved with a golden finger? He frowned and pondered for a long time, but found nothing. In the end, he simply shook his head and continued walking towards the main hall. He doesn't have time to pay attention to these things now. Senior disciple, amazing sword, Yi Qinghong. The other party traveled 1,000 miles back to the sect. It's definitely not because of filial piety, but rather to test his background. He was able to fool the princess of Zhennan just now, not only because of his superb acting skills. The most important reason is that the other party is a mortal. I have never practiced. I couldn't feel his change at all. But as far as he knows, his eldest disciple is exceptionally talented. It's a natural sword body. I have a cold personality and always come and go alone. Ignoring worldly affairs, only obsessed with swords. Over the years, besides following his orders. Go down the mountain to kill and destroy the sect. At other times, he would practice hard in his own sword hall. At the age of nearly 24, I have already mastered the heavenly level technique, the divine sword, and reached the realm of transformation. The Qinkuan continent has produced numerous experts. There are 3 lists of heaven, earth, and people in the Tang dynasty's martial arts world. Yi Qinghong is the youngest top scorer on the heavenly list and ranks 9th. The other party's intuition is extremely strong. It is highly possible to directly detect his changes. It seems that we will pass through the gates of hell this time. Fang Yang murmured and walked towards the main hall. Inside the main hall, Yi Qinghong was waiting quietly, dressed in a blue robe, wearing blue cloth shoes, and carrying a blue long sword on her back. Full of beautiful hair, simply use a bamboo hairpin to hold it. Of course, the bamboo hairpin is also blue. Such simple and crude clothing still cannot conceal her stunning face. Like the snow of the 12th lunar month on earth. Beautiful to the heart and soul, cold to the heart and soul. At this moment, she is sitting peacefully on the chair on the left side of the main hall. The chair is closest to the central throne. It is unique to her, the eldest disciple of the demon lord. She closed her eyes without arrogance or impatience. Just waiting for the arrival of the master. I am still silently reciting the divine sword decision. The blue long sword behind him shook slightly, emitting strands of sword energy. Like a clear breeze in the bamboo forest. She only loved swords throughout her life. He is a true swordsman. In her opinion, the sword, even in the box, never drew. We also need to constantly sharpen ourselves. Only in this way can the head be easily beheaded when killing. According to her usual practice of mirror water sword heart. It should be easy to fall silent at this moment. But today, for some unknown reason, she only felt uneasy. Has the sword heart opened its eyes several times before it was sharpened? What's wrong with it? She reflected on herself time and time again. Finally, it was discovered that there was a red petal on the sleeve of the robe at some point. It should be a roadside wildflower, very small. Plus, she traveled thousands of miles overnight and was very anxious, which was why she didn't notice. She picked up the petals, strode to the door and threw it into a red flower cluster. Dust returns to dust, soil returns to soil. I checked the blue robe several times again and confirmed that there were no more impurities. I just breathed a sigh of relief and continued to sharpen my sword heart until a series of footsteps sounded. One day as a teacher, one lifetime as a father. A spoiled filial piety is the best filial piety. You find that the eldest disciple in front of you is an unparalleled beauty, ranked among the rouge arms. Moreover, the sword can be whispered, adding more charm, and you suddenly have evil thoughts. Accompanied by the sound of white voices, Fang Yang walked into the main hall. I saw the cold woman at a glance. Then, he met his eyes. Clear, deep, and sharp. Just the first glance. I only feel a sword tearing open the world. Suddenly slashed towards him. The sword is blue, like clear water, very slow. But there is nothing to hide from. Make him almost collapse. Until a dark golden light flickered in my mind. He finally came to his senses. My heart trembles with fear. Undoubtedly, he is the eldest disciple trained by him. Ranked 9th on the sky chart. Indeed terrifying. Fortunately, the demon lord had already reached the 4 leaves Dharma realm. Refining the divine sense together. Even if all the power is dissipated. Still possessing a certain degree of self-protection power. But he was still shocked. He could feel that the other party was not intentionally probing him. Just refining the sword heart. When I opened my eyes, I naturally carried a hint of sword energy. But even so, he could hardly bear it anymore. If the other person really tries, he is already lying on the ground now. The more dangerous it is, the more insane it is. The more crazy you are, the more calm you are. Fang Yang quickly suppressed this shock. According to the daily behavior of the demon lord recorded in the diary, he walked towards the other party with a gloomy face. He still carries a domineering aura that overlooks the world. When walking in front of the other party again, pull the corners of your mouth. Showing a fierce smile. My good disciple, he is truly filial. I heard that I was locked down for a month and rushed back to the sect from afar. Master, I am really touched. As he spoke, he reached out and hugged the other person's waist. I plan to maintain my persona. But the next moment buzz. A long sword like water suddenly emerged from its sheath. The sword light was sharp and almost illuminating the hall. Suddenly thrust at his forehead. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Lie there. Recommended for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Lie there. Recommended for collection. Sword light permeates, and the blue water ripples. At this moment, Fang Yang's mind was blank, only realizing that there was only one sword in the world. Blocked all his escape routes. So he froze like a tree stump on the spot. Hands behind your back. A black robe woven from natural silk, swaying in the wind. Plus, still frozen on the face, with a cold and cruel expression. It looks so domineering. Buzz. The sound of sword chanting gradually faded away. The blue long sword returned to its sheath, and Yi Qinghong stood stunned. Looking at Fang Yang, who was staring at him indifferently with an unchanged expression. Bite lightly with vermilion lips. Rushing thousands of miles, only for sure. She came back this time to inquire about the details of her master, in order to deceive her and destroy her ancestors. The world only knows that the demon has 5 disciples. Everyone is stunningly talented and famous. But they didn't know that these 5 disciples hated the demon to the bone, even to the point of never dying. They were all cultivated by the demon himself. Suffering from torture and being prone to physical abuse. The only meaning of living is to kill for the devil. At first, they could still bear it. Even willingly. After all, the demon is their master. Until they learned of a secret. The reason why the demon took them as disciples and carefully taught them peerless divine skills. Just because I saw their special physique and wanted to train them into puppets. The stronger their strength, the stronger the puppets. From beginning to end, they were just tools and had no teacher-student relationship at all. And, to prevent them from betraying. The demon even secretly traced the whereabouts of their family. Secret control. Over the years, in order to get rid of the demon. They were 5 people, brainstorming various strategies and assassinating several times. But none of them succeeded. Most of those so-called opportunities are intentionally exposed flaws by the demon. I want to test them and beat them. Over the years, the demon has long been aware of their thoughts, but completely disdains them. Because, with the power of the demon, it is capable of sweeping everything and crushing any disobedience. But even so they also have no discouragement, as long as they seize the slightest opportunity, they will try at all costs. Just like this time, when she learned that the demon had been locked down for a month and was likely to go crazy, she hurried back. Attempting to assassinate. As a result, this is still the master's trap. That deep and abyssal gaze, an indifferent face. Plus the cruel and murderous smile on the corner of my mouth. Sweep across the 8 wastelands. Overlooking the world. Surprisingly, he is even more domineering and confident than before. It seems like everything is under control. Even if she could vaguely feel that the demon's aura had weakened a lot. But even the most foolish person can feel that this is the trap of the other party, and also another attempt by the master. Unfortunately, master's acting skills are too poor. Even a fool can tell that this is a trap. What's more, she has a glass sword heart and has been deceived many times. Facing the powerful demon, continuing to assassinate is meaningless and may even implicate the other 4 junior sisters. At this moment, Yi Qinghong took a deep breath and his cold eyes dimmed once again. The glass sword heart operates automatically. My eyes are like a cold pond. Cold and icy. I have offended my master, please punish me. A sentence woke up Fang Yang and finally brought him back to his senses. Looking at Yi Qinghong, who was as sharp as a sword and cold, he couldn't help feeling a little uneasy inside. But he still sneered. Punish. It's a great rebellion, and I'll commit the following offenses. How do you think I should punish it? Yi Qinghong's expression did not show any ripples. Kneel down on one knee. Please dispose of it as you please, master. A pearl-like sound sounded, like the rustling autumn rain. The Blood Rain Palace is peaceful. Fang Yang looked coldly at the villain, only able to see half of their profile. Dispose of it casually. When you see the eldest disciple kneeling on the ground in a seductive posture, you can't help but feel the height is appropriate. In addition, there is no one in the main hall, so you need to step forward and press down on the back of the other person's head. What a mess this is all about. Fang Yang's head was covered in black lines, blocking the sound and silently sitting back on his throne. Looking at the woman kneeling on the ground, her fingers tapped on the armrest. What should we do? How should we deal with it? This matter must be carefully considered and no flaws can be revealed. Firstly, it is not acceptable to take action to punish oneself. That will only expose one's complete lack of skills. Secondly, it must conform to the habits of the demon and not appear too abrupt. He closed his eyes, pondered for a moment, and the thick diary came to mind. Recalling the record of the demon in the diary, no, it can't be like this. I am a gentleman, how could I have such filthy thoughts? Besides, she is still my lover. Fang Yang shook his head, looking coldly at Yi Qinghong kneeling on the ground. Sure enough, I still have to sink into the Haoshanshui prison for at least a month. Yi Qinghong murmured, without sadness or joy, anticipating all of this. For so many years. The most cruel punishment for the demon is to imprison them in the Haoshanshui prison. There, the sky is dark and the wind is piercing. Ordinary people may not be able to hold on for a day there. This time it must be the same. It's okay. Don't let the demon speak. Let's take the initiative to go to the back mountain. She bit her lips and was about to get up and leave. The next moment, in consideration of your return from 1,000 miles and your filial piety, I will give you a small punishment. You, lie down on the chair. The cold and calm voice echoed endlessly in the main hall. Yi Qinghong suddenly looked up, with a hint of confusion in his cold eyes. She, who was obsessed with swords, didn't quite understand what Fang Yang meant. Lying on the chair. What does it mean? I just made a big mistake. Shouldn't one kneel on the ground and even think about it in Shanshui prison after being imprisoned? Why are you lying there? Do you think this demon has come up with any cruel and inhumane punishment methods? But she doesn't remember having such a strange forbidden technique. Yi Qinghong stood up in disbelief. Walk to the chair. Grasp the chair with slender fingers to protect your hands. Lie down on the chair. The green threads tied together hang down. The blue cotton fabric cannot wrap around the graceful curves. Collapse your waist. The cold voice rang out again. Yi Qinghong's eyebrows furrowed as he felt more uncomfortable, but he still followed suit. She was really puzzled about what the demon wanted to do. Sha 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 sha. In the cold hall, Fang Yang stood up in indifference. Walking expressionlessly towards Yi Qinghong, he quickly walked behind him. Unable to resist, this is the best opportunity. Who can refuse to teach a swordsman how to use a sword? The evil narrator is still spouting incessantly. Fang Yang looked at the astonished sword lying on the chair, sighing inwardly. The tree wants to be quiet but the wind doesn't stop, why do you have to force me? He raised his palm. With a loud bang. Just take a picture. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Red Line Marriage, recommended for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Red Line Marriage, recommended for collection. According to the diary records, the most suitable style for demon punishment is actually standing stick singles. But unfortunately, his martial arts were not strong enough, and he couldn't pass the mental barrier. We can only settle for second best. Ultimately, it's still because I'm too a gentleman. He felt a sigh and emotion in his heart. Buzz, buzz. Waves of trembling sound echoed, and sword light filled the air. The swords behind Yi Qinghong were trembling, and the heart of the glass sword was almost shattered. He exuded a bone-chilling feeling on his body. Almost layers of ice and frost condensed on the ground. Have you been desecrated by your own master? This demon has actually taken action against his disciple. Neglecting morality and ethics. Don't he feel ashamed? At this moment, Yi Qinghong's mind was almost blank, and when he realized it, he wanted to pull out his green shadow sword. Fight to the death with this demon. And all of this fell into Fang Yang's eyes. Sure enough, the demon usually only knows how to rely on his strong martial arts and doesn't understand Pua at all. This is what makes these disciples hate to the bone. Even a slight touch, such a big reaction. Of course, it is also possible that the demon lord is too abnormal and likes this bite. In addition, with outstanding strength and confidence that can crush everything, I don't care. But the problem is, I care. Now he is dancing on the tip of the knife. In order to maintain one's character, one can only go against one's original intention and resort to cruel treatment. But it should not be too excessive. A slight mistake could lead to a life-threatening situation. It's too difficult. Fang Yang rose in his heart, but his face was still cold. There was also a fierce expression in the eyes of the demon lord. Why, unwilling? My eldest disciple, I know you're not afraid of death. But you don't want your 4 junior sisters to suffer torture, do you? With one sentence, Yi Qinghong's expression froze, and the trembling green shadow sword behind him also calmed down. Swordsman. As free as a bird, especially for someone like her who already has a glass sword heart, she is rarely disturbed by external objects. But her only weakness is her 4 junior sisters. They grew up together, bathed together, played together. She cannot let the 4 junior sisters suffer torture, let alone be defiled by this demon. At this moment, she stood there coldly. Without saying a word. Always shrouded in a frost. The main hall is icy and piercing. This time, it's just a small punishment for you. If there's another time, I won't let it go lightly. Step back. Fang Yang snorted coldly and shook his sleeve. Turn your back to the other person. Yi Qinghong gave his master a deep glance. A flash of body shape. I chose a road full of green bricks. Drifting away. At the moment of leaving, sword energy surged outside the main hall, and snowflakes drifted inexplicably. Who? At the moment when Yi Qinghong had just left. Fang Yang couldn't help but vomit his turbid breath. It's too dangerous. Escape from death. Fortunately, with the existence of that pile of diaries, I knew the demon lord like the back of my hand. In addition, he remained calm in the face of danger and was already quite intelligent, receiving a slap from the god. Only then did the villain trust a little. He can be certain that without that slap, if that were the case, he might have already died in the dark. Although he barely survived the crisis, he was well aware that it was only temporary. His 5 villains hate him to the bone one by one. The only belief in one's heart is. The master lying in the coffin is the good master. This time, the reason why Yi Qinghong was taken aback by him was due to his excellent acting skills. Secondly, the demon lord left a huge shadow in the hearts of these 5 disciples. Make these 5 disciples suspicious and hesitant to act recklessly. But this is just a temporary deception. With Yi Qinghong's intelligence, it is estimated that he will soon realize something is wrong and continue to explore. Moreover, the next attempt will definitely be more decisive than this one, and there is a possibility of a direct move. At that time, he will undoubtedly die. Only with strong strength can one not be afraid of these and perform more and more realistically. For example, today if he's really like a demon, force him to stand up and fight in singles. Definitely able to deter this villain. Moreover, one more thing, according to the diary of the demon, 3 months later, the demon will open a feast of the demon gate. During the transition, all the demonic sects will participate. Compete in martial arts skills, sort the demonic sects, from disciples within the sect, to protectors, elders, and even the sect leader, they will all take action. Mild to severe injury, severe to death. In previous years, the demon lord swept through the 8 wildernesses and easily allowed the Blood Rain sect to occupy the top spot. But now, the demon lord has died. Once the feast opens in 3 months, he will die 9 times without any life. Enhance your strength. He must enhance his strength at no cost, which is his only choice and the only way to break through. After a cup of tea. Blood Rain Palace, Demon Lord Pavilion. Fang Yang sat cross-legged on the ground, with a row of jade slips in front of him. Tian Mo Gong, Jing Shen Jian, desire for women, countless precious treasures that can stir up a bloody storm in the outside world, but here with the demon lord, they can only be used to eat ashes. This is probably what Blood Rain Demon Lord cultivates in Tianma Gong. Fang Yang murmured, finding only scattered records in his diary. The Demon Lord rarely records his cultivation techniques in his diary. According to him, he has exceptional talent, and no matter how difficult his techniques are, he can easily master them at a glance. No matter how difficult the martial arts are, having hands is enough. This is also the true reason why he was able to stand alone in his 30s. Next, Fang Yang attempted to practice according to the recorded techniques. I found that the speed of this body's cultivation is indeed very fast. In about 10 years, he will be able to restore the current state of the Demon Lord and unify the world. Of course, before that, he had already been killed by countless enemies. What exactly should I do? Fang Yang furrowed his brows, and if it weren't for fear of exposing himself, he even planned to try the evil techniques collected and replenished in the pavilion. All attempts are useless. In the end, he could only focus his attention on the talkative and unreliable golden finger. Buzz, buzz. The air shook slightly. Accompanied by ripples of water, a layer of water curtain unfolded before his eyes. Name. Fang Yang, marriage +2, can be activated, 2 points of marriage. Previously, after kissing the princess of Zhennan, there was a little bit of it. Now, is this more from Yi Qinghong? One is a wife. One is a villain. Is his marriage destined to be so crooked? Impossible. This must be influenced by the Demon Lord, and has nothing to do with him as a righteous gentleman. Fang Yang shook his head and chose to activate. Boom. Pioneering. My brain seemed to explode. A buzzing sound. It seems like someone injected something fiercely. Fully charged. It took a long time for it to gradually calm down. I feel like my mind has entered a space. The space is very narrow, with a portrait standing inside, in a rolling black robe, with a handsome and cold face. Emitting a commanding aura that looked down upon the world. That appearance, just a glance at it, makes people feel ashamed of themselves. It's not anyone else, it's him. Strictly speaking, this can no longer be considered a statue. Because it's too realistic. From hair to skin texture, it is just like a real person. The only difference is that the Demon Lord has 2 extra red lines on his hand, like the marriage red line of the Moon Elder, emitting a faint luster. The red line extends forward, probing into darkness. In the depths of darkness, there are 2 figures. A round and smooth pearl, gentle and graceful. A cold and snowy one, pouring down the country and the city. It is the princess of Zhennan, Yi Qinghong. At this moment, both of them stood humbly in place. And the 2 red lines are skillfully tied together. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Wire Puller. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Wire Puller. What is this Tokyo filming scene? Looking at the shameful appearance, Fang Yang's head was covered in black lines, and he felt even more that his golden fingers were a bit crooked. Walk up to the 2 people. Only then did I realize that these 2 figures were both statues. Like my own, lifelike. It's like a soul leaving the body. Except for some holes, it is exactly the same as the original. This place is dark and empty. I saw 2 stunning women kneeling in front of me. Your heart moved and you didn't want to miss this good opportunity, so you held on to the rope. Fang Yang blocked out the chaotic narration in his mind. Just reaching out, curious about Yi Qinghong's dummy. Buzz. The water ripples. Drawer. Yi Qinghong, realm. Grand Master, Constitution. Glass sword body, heart like glass, obsessed with jade sword. Practicing swordsmanship increases speed by 10 times and power by 2 times, favorite rating point 30, hate to the bone, note. By increasing favorability and frequent contact, you can obtain marriage value. Marriage value can be used for system lottery, store exchange of items, and there is a chance to obtain the skills of the drafter themselves. Note: this skill is considered good by the drafter and is frequently used. The silk puller, is it the moonlight red silk being pulled? But whose family's nanny still plays the trick of binding and kneeling down? Is this red line a bit too vulgar? Fang Yang couldn't resist roast and pointed another finger at the princess of Zhennan. Silk puller. Han Lingxian, realm. Nun, constitution. Divine body of wedding clothes. After dual cultivation, the power cultivated will be equally transferred to the dual cultivator to assist them in cultivation. Favorite rating point 30, hate to the bone, good guy. Both of them have a completely opposite impression of him. I really don't know what that demon has done to make people angry. Fang Yang shook his head helplessly. I have gained a basic understanding of this golden finger. Simply put, these golden fingers were like the red thread of the old moon, forcibly binding the three of them together. He can obtain marriage value through these two people and use the marriage value to participate in a lottery. As for whether there are any other functions of this red line, further exploration is needed. Perhaps can you free your hands? He shook his head and quickly dispelled this shameful thought. I plan to draw a prize first. Ding, the treasure chest has been opened, consume 1 marriage value, and obtain the skill, Xiantian Su. Did you win just by coming up? Can't you say this is a beginner gift package? Fang Yang's eyes lit up, and he didn't expect the chance of winning to be so high. He continued to draw. Ding, the treasure chest has been opened, consume 1 marriage value, obtain the skill of silk puller Han Lingxian, wash underwear. Advanced. What? He made 3 question marks directly, feeling confused in an instant. He knew that the system store would draw the skills of the wire puller, but he didn't expect to be drawn immediately, and it was also the skill of the princess of Zhennan. However, why isn't it the queen's piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, or the way of the imperial court that was drawn out? But washing underwear. What are the levels of advanced, intermediate, and beginner? What kind of chaotic unfolding is all this? According to the introduction of the Moon Elder's red line, the skills he draws are often done by the leader, and he thinks he is quite skilled. Has the queen been here for 3 years, washing her underwear every day? Do you still think this is your own masterpiece? For a moment, Fang Yang felt that the round and smooth woman's painting style seemed a bit strange. Opening the skill card, I happened to see the detailed introduction above. Skill card. The advanced lingerie washing technique of the queen, which can thoroughly clean away lingerie stains and preserve the queen's unique fragrance. Who knows the troubles at night? Can be used multiple times. 1. What's the use of this skill for me? He was covered in black lines and withdrew from this mental space. I have an extra jade slip in my hand. It's the Xiantian Su. Xiantian Su, remnants. A top-notch technique in the heavenly rank, which can conceal the practitioner's breath and block all divination techniques. Every word and action carries the profound meaning of the heavenly way. The way of heaven is unpredictable. When a practitioner uses a move, there is a chance to trigger anomalies such as sky thunder and glow. Schwa. Upon seeing this detailed introduction, Fang Yang was taken aback for a moment and then overjoyed. I even feel that a mysterious force is helping me. There's no way, this Xiantian strategy is simply tailored for him. It can not only conceal his aura, but also block divination. The most crucial thing is that the strange phenomena of heaven and earth can be very frightening to hear. Most suitable for pretending to be tiger-like. After having this thing, my disguise will become more perfect and successful. Maybe it can deter those enemies and make assassinations much less. Moreover, it can also allocate more time for cultivation and face the feast of the demon gate. He murmured inwardly, without any hesitation, and with a click, he crushed the jade slip into pieces. Just as he crushed it, a warm current surged into his mind, causing him to snort and close his eyes. The night is like a curtain. The backyard of the magic snow palace is a secluded small courtyard. Woo, woo. Meow. The sound of cats chirping in spring echoed in waves. Like complaints, like tears, like complaints, like admiration. Revealing a sense of melancholy and desolation. Xiaoxue, stop shouting. A girl wearing a bright yellow long dress and some baby fat is squatting on the ground doing laundry. And next to her, the mournful cry of the snow lion cat made her put down her clothes in distress. I hammered my head and still had some doubts. She is the maid of the queen. Linger. I have been following the princess of Zhennan since I was young, serving her. 3 years ago, I was caught by a demon along with her. From then on, the two of them, one cat, relied on each other for their own survival. Although Snow White Lion Cat, also known as Little Snow, likes to bark recklessly, it has never been as melancholic as it is today. It's like experiencing some immense injustice, she also asked the princess, but she hesitated and couldn't explain clearly. Then, with her cheeks turning red, she quickly ran to the hot spring in the back mountain to take a shower. That's right, for the past 3 years, the princess's clothes have basically been washed by her, and the only thing she can't wash is her underwear. The queen is usually very gentle, but she never allows her to touch her underwear, not even to look at it. I wash it myself every time. Still mysterious, carrying a person on his back. It's normal for the queen to wash her underwear, but it's not normal to do so at this time. After all, although the queen often goes to the hot springs in the back mountain to take a shower, she usually goes there in the late night or in the morning, and rarely goes there in broad daylight. I won't be as impatient as I am now. Out of concern, she took a sneak glance. I found that the hem of the queen's skirt was disorderly, and there were even some water stains deep in the skirt. It seems like someone intentionally splashed it on. This made her extremely angry. Who is so bad, even bullying the queen? Unexpectedly intentionally shot dirty water at the queen. If she knows who did it. She can't get a big fight without riding on the other person. Linger's heart was pounding, her small face turned into a bun. At this very moment, dong dong dong, outside the door, there was a knocking sound. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The Consort's Plan, recommended for follow-up reading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The Consort's Plan, recommended for follow-up reading. Princess, have you returned? Linger opens the door. Han Lingxian happened to walk in from outside. My cheeks are flushed. There are 2 obscene pants in the wooden basin. They were all tightly covered by her, but still revealed a part, which happened to be seen by Linger. Princess, didn't you just wash it this morning? Why are both clothes dirty? Linger asked with some confusion. The queen clenched her fists tightly, wishing to bite the demon twice. The reason why she goes to the hot springs in the back mountain to wash her underwear during the day is all caused by that demon. After finally washing her underwear, halfway down the road, she couldn't help but itch with anger as she remembered what the demon had done to her. And then my underwear is dirty again. I can only go back and wash another item. Plus tonight's daily bath, she might have to take 3 showers a day. All of this is bestowed by the demon. The queen. The queen. Are you okay? The little maid was worried for a moment, thinking that her queen was sick. It's okay, just when I was taking a shower, my clothes fell in and I only washed 2 pieces now. So it's like this. The little maid suddenly realized and picked up the Snow White Lion Cat. By the way, Xiaoxue has been barking all day, as if she has been bullied. Princess, do you know what's going on? As soon as she said this, Han Lingxian instinctively looked at her own cat. Discovering that the other party was looking at her lips with a serene expression, even revealing a hint of resentment in her glass-like cat eyes, she suddenly felt guilty. I'm not quite sure. This cat has always been cautious. Who knows where I offended it? Linger, help me come in and pick out clothes. Good soon, inside the room. The little maid looked at the semi-transparent silk underwear that the queen had picked out. Apricot's eyes were wide and round. Baozi's face was full of shock. Wang. Princess, aren't you the one who hates this garment the most? Saying it's too revealing, and even saying it's worn by a fox seductive, you're going to burn it. In the past 3 years, the clothes, jewelry, and all other daily necessities of the Princess Zhennan were sewn by the tailor who was caught by the demon. Basically, there are styles available. The Princess of Zhennan was quite disgusted by this garment since it was delivered. How could you take the initiative to wear it today? The Princess of Zhennan was speechless. She can't just deliberately wear such revealing clothes to seduce the demon, can she? There is no turning back arrow when bowing. She is tired of these canary days. We must assassinate the demon no matter what. Today, in order to maintain the appearance of a pervert in front of the disciples of the demon cult, the demon suppressed nausea and kissed her. I estimate that I am almost possessed by now. Tonight, she wants to add another flame. Proactively seduce the demon. The other party is suffering from impotence, which not only doesn't take advantage of her, but also makes her restless. It is said that people who practice martial arts all have a heart demon. Once the heart demon attacks, it can even cause the true qi to flow back and cause serious injuries to the body. The devil in this demon's heart is that she cannot be humane. She needs to dress like a seductive fox and perform some seductive actions. It will definitely anger the demon to death. When the demon becomes possessed, she can take out a hairpin and stab it into the opponent's neck, instantly causing the demon to die miserably. Perfect. Perfect plan. It's simply seamless. It exploits both the weaknesses of the demon and human nature. For a moment, the Princess of Zhennan even felt like a rare strategist from ancient and modern times. And it's still the kind that never comes out of the world. Humph, this kind of clothing is originally worn by foxes, it looks disgusting. Linger, you must not wear this kind of clothing in the future, it will spoil you. Aha! The little maid couldn't help but nod. Even shy enough to dare not look at the fox's seductive clothes, but still curious. Linger definitely won't wear it. Why does the princess wear it? Because I want to criticize it. The queen raised her almost perfect oval face and spoke with righteousness. If you want to criticize these foxes, you must go deep into them. I want to see how these foxes, wearing these clothes all day long, seduce men. The little maid had a bewildered expression on her face. Although she felt that what her queen had said was very reasonable, she always felt that something was not right. The queen coughed twice and said expressionlessly with a straight face. Linger, go out first and I'll change my clothes. Yes. Squeak. As the door closes. The little maid quickly walked out of the room and casually threw stones in the yard. And Han Lingxian secretly picked up the semi-transparent silk jacket. Bite tightly on the pearl lips. After hesitating for a long time, I finally changed my clothes. The candle flickered. Under the dim light, the Princess of Zhennan stood in front of the bronze mirror, gentle and graceful. The translucent silk clothing accentuated her mature figure even more alluring. But at this moment, she was extremely irritable, pulling her belly tightly. What kind of tattered clothes? So small. Can't even cover the key parts. She couldn't help roast, but she was very clear that her annoying figure and many clothes were small. No wonder the clothes. After much effort, I finally managed to tidy up my small clothes. The Princess of Zhennan only then looked at the bronze mirror. In the bronze mirror, her sheepskin-like skin appeared even more radiant. Paired with the semi-transparent little clothes. Let her have another temptation and leave her stunned. Okay. It seems like she's wearing this outfit, more waves than the fox in the brothel know. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I am the princess of Zhennan, elegant and luxurious. What are those fox charmers that can be compared to? She shook her head and quickly dispelled this absurd idea, just staring at the bronze mirror. The more you look, the more obsessed you become, and the more you look, the more your inner turmoil becomes. A pair of jade legs unknowingly twisted together. After 3 years of imprisonment, she could have barely endured it, but for some reason, wearing such clothes today made her heart inexplicably tremble. It seemed like something was about to crawl out, making her both scared and somewhat hopeful. What a wonderful night, Dorman's wonderful body. Why is it that I am alone? How about tonight, we'll leave? No. Absolutely not. I have a deep blood feud with that demon, and she is also a noble princess. How can she submit to the other party? But how unbearable. She hesitated for a long time, feeling a conflict between heaven and humanity within. Finally, I suddenly remembered that the demon was not humane at all. The fire in my heart finally subsided. Hardened it hard. You're such a seductive person. It really harms people a lot. A person with a firm mind like me almost got killed. Tonight is a special situation, and you can't wear such clothes again in the future. The princess of Zhennan gritted her teeth. Subsequently, I dug out a popular picture album in the Tang dynasty's wealthy women's circle from the corner. I heard that the fox seductive son loves to learn things on it. After learning it, he can capture the souls of men. She never looked at such things before. But tonight, in order to make the demon go crazy, she can only sacrifice herself and learn more posture. Knowledge. At this point, she couldn't help but take a deep breath and trembled as she opened the picture album. Snow White Lion Cat also approached. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The Demon Lord has an accident. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The Demon Lord has an accident under the dim candlelight. One person and one cat, leaning their heads together, were reading the unsightly brochure. The cat blinked its eyes. Glass-like eyes, rippling with layers of ripples. The princess of Zhennan, on the other hand, blushed brightly as she looked at those embarrassing postures. Pooh! It's really despicable and shameless. Only those fox charmers look at these things. She couldn't help but spit. Subsequently, I continued to watch. Her pretty face turned increasingly red, her lips clenched tighter, and the snow lion cat huddled together, whimpering as if crying. After a long time, the entire picture album was flipped through. The princess of Zhennan vomited her turbid breath and expressionlessly put away the picture album. Picking up the wooden basin, I also tidied up 2 pieces of profanity clothes. Opened the door and walked towards the outside. Princess, it's so late. Where are you going? The little maid asked with confusion. The queen's figure paused and she let go of a dry sentence. Shower, wash underwear. After speaking, quickly walk back to the mountain. Behind him, the lion and cat, who had watched the entire picture album, followed suit step by step. It also needs to take a shower. 1 hour later, the Demon Lord Pavilion. Fang Yang walked out expressionlessly, dressed in a black robe. Always shrouded in a mysterious aura. Make him look like an abyss. Mysterious and completely incomprehensible. The ones guarding the door were the same few believers who had been guarding at the entrance of the darkroom before. The moment I saw Fang Yang walk out, Chi lowered his head. I felt a terrifying pressure emanating from the Demon Lord. This pressure seems to come from the heavenly way, making their souls tremble. Stronger than ever before. When the Demon Lord was about to leave the Demon Lord Pavilion, a group of people began to discuss cautiously, why do I feel like the Demon Lord is stronger than before? I also think so. Can't the Demon Lord break through? Impossible, right? It's circulating outside that the demon lord has gone crazy, otherwise how could he be locked down for a month? Everyone lowered their voices to speculate. Only the demonic believer who was slapped by Fang Yang murmured with a hint of disappointment. No, the demon lord used to slap me every time he came out. As soon as he finished speaking, a shadow flickered in front of him. Pop! The sound of slapping exploded. Before he could react, he had already fallen to the ground. When I got up, there were already 5 bright red finger marks on my face. And he just smiled and nodded, satisfied. The demon lord has struck me again, so I can rest assured. He stopped abruptly before finishing his words, with a look of fear on his face. No. The demon lord's strength is at least 50% less than before. This has never happened before. Is the demon lord really injured? No way, we must report this matter to the protector. The demon lord is injured and it has a great relationship. It is very likely to make many people in the sect restless, and even make people outside have a murderous heart. Protectors must protect the demon lord as soon as possible. Thinking of this, the demonic believer did not hesitate and fled towards the distance. Forbidden love can also be understood. Sometimes there is no need to care about others' opinions. A slightly painful narration sounded in his ear, and Fang Yang's head was covered in black lines as he shook his palm. He never expected it no matter what. This blood rain demon lord, as well as that demon cultist, have such a fetish. Fortunately, he had just heard that sentence, otherwise it would have been exposed. However, this incident also reminds him not to take it lightly. This demon is so twisted, who knows how many hobbies are not recorded in his diary. Be sure to observe carefully. Xiantian strategy, the effect is good, you can continue to cultivate in the future. However, according to the diary, the demon lord almost works with the princess of Zhennan every day, without missing a single day. It seems that in order to maintain his character and avoid suspicion from others, I must go to the princess of Zhennan tonight. Fang Yang slowly exhaled his turbid breath, feeling immense pressure, as if he was carrying a heavy burden on his shoulders. Thinking of this kind of life again, he felt even more helpless as he had to continue every day in the future. This kind of helplessness is not physical helplessness. For him in his past life, it was as easy as the palm of his hand. Can't there be any men who are in poor condition every day and can't even do this? Jokes. What he truly feels helpless about is that he, as a righteous gentleman, really doesn't want to inherit the legacy of Wei Wu, but unfortunately the demon lord left him with a lot of mess, forcing him to handle it with force. Now, the only driving force that supports him is that the princess of Zhennan may bring him some marriage value. After all, the eldest disciple should not be provoked for the time being. The queen is the only object he can hold on to. Only by drawing some props based on his marriage value and obtaining certain life-saving cards, can he survive in the grand event 3 months later. Otherwise, relying solely on cultivation, he can never reach the 4 leaves Dharma realm within 3 months. It can be said without hesitation that the queen is his only hope of survival. It seems that tonight is a tough battle. He sighed and walked towards the backyard where the princess of Zhennan was located. Wutong Yard. The flickering lights, what? The princess. You want to assassinate that demon? The little maid Xing's eyes were wide open, full of disbelief. Just now, the queen had just returned from bathing and told her that she would die with the demon tonight. This was like a thunderbolt exploding in her ear, and her mind was still buzzing until now. That's right. That demon ruined my life and imprisoned me here for 3 years. Every day of these 3 years, I felt like I was living or dying. Now, I have planted a demon in the demon's heart. No matter what, I must fight to kill the demon and end all of this. The princess of Zhennan was wearing a gauze skirt, her wet hair draped behind her, and beside her was a similarly wet white snow lion cat. The princess gritted her silver teeth tightly. The eyes are filled with deep-seated hatred. Within a day, taking 4 baths, washing underwear 4 times, and not enough clothes to change. Thinking of the embarrassing behavior I had never experienced in the hot spring before. She wished she could cut that demon head 1,000 times. Heart demon. What heart demon? Princess, when did you have this ability? This. The princess of Zhennan hesitated and didn't know how to speak, her stunning cheeks were uncertain. She couldn't tell her own maid that her way of being possessed was to be forcibly kissed by the demon. This matter is clearly due to the demon being nauseous, and there is even a high possibility that he may become possessed. Make it seem like she's at a loss. No, you can't say it. You don't need to worry about this. Anyway, the demon is currently at its weakest point, and I have already formulated a foolproof plan. It must have surprised the demon's expectations, made him dumbfounded, and then died under my command. She is confident and full of confidence, with a confident and confident attitude, as if everything is under her control. The little maid looked at the spirited expression of the queen, and then thought of the bad woman's clothes she was wearing today, feeling a bit unstable. Counseling with a crying tone. Princess, that demon is cunning and cunning. Can you stop assassinating him? Let's live here well, and I will serve you for a lifetime. No, I'm at odds with that demon. Linger, this matter has nothing to do with you. The demon is holding me captive and doesn't care so much about you. You should run down the mountain with Xiaoxue. I don't want you to be implicated. Han Lingxian shook her hand and made a decisive decision. No. I'm not leaving. I was found by the queen on the street, and I wouldn't even fear death before leaving. The little maid's eyes turned red. Tears, like broken beads, kept falling. The two constantly argue and persist. Until outside the courtyard, footsteps rang out. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Tonight, steady, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Tonight, steady, not good, it's the demon who's here. The queen suddenly turned pale. Even if she turned into ash, she could hear the footsteps of the demon. The little maid's face turned pale, and she didn't know what to do for a moment. Wang. Princess, what should we do? Linger's voice trembled as she asked. Get under the bed and don't come out no matter what you hear. Anyway, this matter has nothing to do with you. Do you understand? Ming. I understand. The little maid nodded and, like a bug, crawled under the bed one by one. The queen took a deep breath and then clenched the hairpin inside her sleeve. A gentle smile was outlined on her stunning cheeks. Slowly walk towards the outside of the hospital. Plan 2.0 with no last resort, start. It's time to showcase your true acting skills to that demon. Outside the hospital. Fang Yang has also done a good job in facial expression management. Still so domineering, indifferent, with a faint lust. He just looked at Wudong Yard. My heart is doing the final hypnosis. From now on, I am the Demon Lord, and the Demon Lord is me. Replacing the Demon Lord plan, start. It's time to show this queen her true acting skills. Squeak. Accompanied by a creaking sound. The door of Wudong Yard was opened. The candle flickered. The queen held a lantern and leaned against the door. The gentle breeze brings faint cicadas from afar. The bright moonlight reflected on her slender jade legs, emitting a beautiful luster. She just took a shower, her hair still wet, draped behind her. The long skirt, as thin as cicada wings, pressed tightly against her round and graceful figure, appearing gentle and graceful, breathtaking in beauty. At this moment, she stood there, gazing steadily at Fang Yang, her flawless oval face still carrying a faint smile. As if a good person is waiting for you to return. Demon Lord, you're here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. A slightly trembling voice. Touching the strings of people's hearts, Fang Yang's heart couldn't help but miss a beat. More and more certain, the queen in front of her must have a close relationship with the demon lord, and even develop some special emotions. Otherwise, I would never wait here so affectionately. But the problem is, according to the panel in his mind, the queen's favorability towards him is already at a low of 0.30, reaching a level of deep hatred. How could one be so enthusiastic in this situation? Can you say? This is because the demon lord forced them to face each other with a smile, deliberately pretending. But this also looks too similar. Still say it. Is it really Stockholm Syndrome? The queen was imprisoned for 3 years, tortured for 3 years, and even had taboo thoughts. Hate and admire at the same time. Is this what makes favorability so conflicted? The more Fang Yang thought about it, the more likely he felt it was, as if he had already uncovered the truth. However, such twisted and fanatical emotions will make me very tired in the future. All his emotions were restrained, and a faint smile hung on his face. With a sudden embrace, he held his slender waist in his arms. Why, you're in a hurry. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you tonight. The princess of Zhennan stiffened. A wave of shame and anger surged in my heart. I wish I could go all out with this demon right away. But soon she realized it. Not right. Perhaps I have suffered some minor losses now. But for the entire plan, it was a blood profit. She only suffered a slight loss of innocence, and the demon must be almost nauseous by now. Unfortunately, they still need to pretend to be in a state of excitement. If it were someone else, they might have really been deceived. But she knew the details of the demon, and with her clever mind, she had already seen through everything. The demon could not deceive her. Now the demon's blood should have surged, but he is still struggling to suppress it and will enter the room later. She took off her skirt. Reveal the seductive little clothes I changed into today. Directly release the ultimate killing move, ensuring that the demon loses its armor and goes berserk. She became more and more excited as she thought, and her cheeks flushed with excitement. In the end, he gritted his teeth and made some sacrifices, almost burying himself in Fang Yang's arms. Soft jade in my arms. Looking at the flushed cheeks and slightly trembling body of the queen, Fang Yang couldn't help but feel grateful. Sure enough, the demon lord has been in seclusion for a month, and the queen has become somewhat impatient. Fortunately, he saw through everything and came tonight decisively. Otherwise, the queen would definitely doubt him. And once suspicion arises, it is the first step of exposure. Thinking of this, he hugged the princess even tighter. Soon, inside the house, the candles flickered. Fang Yang, the princess of Zhennan, hugged each other and sat by the bed, with a heartfelt smile on her face. The atmosphere was somewhat awkward. On the one hand, Fang Yang felt that since the relationship between the queen and the demon was so twisted, there might be some other posthumous titles. In order not to expose his connections, he was waiting for the queen's guidance. On the other hand, Han Lingxian, after all, is the princess of Zhennan. It is already quite rare to achieve this step now. How can she understand the seductive methods of those fox charmers? Therefore, she is also waiting for the demon. The two of them were so embarrassed on the spot. Pop clack. The candles in the room occasionally make a faint sound. The atmosphere is becoming increasingly dull. Until, meow. A faint meowing of a cat interrupted the queen's thoughts, and she looked aside. I found the snow lion cat lying in bed. The hair is still a bit damp. Take a look at her later, take a look at the demon later. The glass-like eyes became even more melancholic. The queen inexplicably felt guilty, but she also made a decision and didn't want to wait any longer. She planned to take the initiative. Directly sacrifice the great killer. Ha! Under the dim yellow candlelight. She yawned, set the lantern aside, and lay on the bed like this, learning from the descriptions of those fox charmers in the play, her eyes blurred. Demon Lord, I'm a bit tired. Let's rest for now. As she spoke, she gently took off her long skirt, only taking off half of it. The small silk clothes were faintly visible. The Grand Princess did this kind of thing. After all, it was a bit unfamiliar and a bit shy, causing her voice to tremble. Her snow-white skin, like jade, is covered with a layer of clouds. Fang Yang was originally performing, but when he saw this scene, he couldn't help but breathe heavily and his eyes seemed to turn slightly red. It took a long time to gradually calm down. I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. It seems that his performance was quite successful, making the queen completely mistake him for a demon lord. Tonight, it's stable. And Han Lingxian was equally excited when she saw Fang Yang's disordered breathing. It seems that my performance was quite successful. Let the demon go completely insane. Tonight, stabilize. The two of them looked at each other, each showcasing their acting skills. Although they were extremely vigilant in their hearts, they still had a deep and affectionate appearance. 3 years of hatred will soon be repaid. Everything is exactly as planned. The princess's mouth curved slightly, feeling even more helpless as she gently leaned towards Fang Yang. He whispered to himself. Linger, keep an eye on it. Today, I'm going to let you know how the demon died in my hands. Seeking Wave Collection, recommendation, follow-up reading, everyone can leave a comment, it's too uncomfortable to be alone. End of this chapter. 10. Chapter 10 was given for free. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Free. Giving. The summer breeze is gentle, and the candlelight cannot be extinguished. Two silhouettes are gradually getting closer. The Princess of Zhennan is the #1 on the Tang Dynasty Rouge list, and can be said to be unparalleled. Now, it's within reach. Even if Fang Yang could not bear it, he would eventually be unable to suppress it. Breathing becomes increasingly rapid and chaotic. And this scene further confirms the speculation of the Princess Zhennan. When has the demon been so cruel and domineering in suppressing the 8 wildernesses? I must have gone crazy. The shadow is getting closer and closer. Han Lingxian became increasingly excited, gritting her silver teeth and flashing a deep-seated hatred in her eyes. The hairpin with jade has already been shaken off. Grasp it in the palm of your hand. Demon, go to me. The first ray of dawn tore through the darkness. Wutong Yard. The originally peaceful and elegant room has now become a mess. At this moment, a stunning young woman lay in bed with messy hair and a flawless oval face full of confusion. Like a piece of decaying wood, completely losing its soul. The queen. Princess, don't scare me. Wake up quickly. The little maid stood by the bed, crying and pushing Han Lingxian. After a long time, Han Lingxian finally regained her senses. The little maid in front of her, covered in tears, looked bewildered. Linger, what happened last night? Yesterday. Last night, you were bullied by that demon. Linger was crying, her eyes filled with heartache. Woo-woo, princess, that demon is really too fierce and cruel. You are not his opponent. Let's just live a good life in the Wutong courtyard and stop provoking the devil. The little maid's eyes were swollen with tears, and her tone even carried a hint of pleading. The queen was speechless. Linger was picked up by her outside and she has been following her all along. Due to her shy nature, she rarely socializes with outsiders, and her age is still young. I don't understand many things. I thought I was just being bullied by other maids like she was in the palace. But the little maid didn't understand, but she did. She has been defiled by the demon. Just last night, after she had made thorough preparations, the demon suddenly became wild. Make all her schemes a joke. It can be said that lifting a stone can hit one's own foot. What exactly is going on? Which link went wrong? Isn't the demon inhumane? She has already verified this a lot, it can be said to be absolutely true. Why was she actually ruined in the end? Can you say the demon's 1-month closure is to cure his hidden illness? And now it has completely recovered. It must be like this is already the only possibility. Thinking of my so-called 1,000 plans, thinking of last night's high spirits. Han Lingxian wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl in. Strictly speaking, at first, the demon did not force her. On the contrary, it was her who, step by step, delivered herself to the devil's mouth. Not only completely unaware, but also complacent. It's really stupid. Too arrogant. There is nothing to love in life. At this moment, Han Lingxian was truly desperate. Eyes empty and lifeless. Without even answering the little maid's words, she immediately became extremely anxious. Tear beads fell down with a snap. Princess, do you still want to seek revenge against that demon? That demon is really fierce. If you insist on seeking revenge, I'll fight with you. If the demon wants to fight, he'll beat both of us together. Ling'er was sobbing, pitiful and delicate. The queen sighed leisurely, and just as she was about to get up, she felt immense pain all over her body, as if her bones were about to fall apart. She sat up with a slight frown, suppressed the pain, and rubbed Ling'er's hair. Silver teeth clenched tightly, holding a wooden basin, casually stuffing 2 clothes for washing, and silently walking towards the hot spring in the back mountain. Perhaps it's time for her to think about how to take the road ahead. Smoke shrouds, and the spring water is shrouded in mist. The princess of Zhennan sat taking a bath in the spring water, her cheeks flushed and alluring. And next to her floated a cat. White snow lion cat. Looking at her with a gloomy expression. Last night, a long night, the lion cat stayed in the house all night. I arrived at the hot spring early in the morning. Even earlier than the princess of Zhennan, her straightforward gaze made her inexplicably feel guilty and guilty. It seems like betrayal. Finally, deliberately ignoring and contemplating one's own affairs, before long, the mind became chaotic. In fact, although she is the princess of Zhennan, she is just a vase of the royal family. Life is not too good. Especially after the passing of King Zhennan, her life became even more difficult. The whole palace was full of intrigues and calculations, which exhausted her. In contrast, the life in Wudong courtyard in the past 3 years seems more peaceful and beautiful. Even the restlessness from a while ago has completely disappeared with last night when I think of these 2 words. The Princess Zhennan's expression became complicated, her gaze blurred, and she tightly bit her own vermilion lips. Then. There was a strong killing intent. She had always hated the demon, and now the 2 of them have completely formed a deep-seated blood feud. Never give up or die. Revenge. We must seek revenge. The princess of Zhennan gritted her teeth and pondered again. She has already reviewed it, and the reason for her failure this time has nothing to do with herself, purely because she did not know that the demon had completely cured her secret illness. I just ate such a big root. A loss. Now, she knows the demon like a palm of her hand and can definitely make more detailed plans. But what exactly is the plan? She frowned and pondered hard. After a long time, my eyes lit up. Got it. From the impatient attitude of the demon last night, it can be seen that after suppressing it for so many years, this guy has completely become a pervert. And it's also a hungry ghost in the color. In storytelling, the best way to deal with perverts is through seduction. The female assassin plays the role of a stunning beauty, sneaks in front of the target, and when the target relaxes their guard, kills them with 1 blow. She could definitely do the same. This demon has been locked down for a month, as the elder can fully prove. It is said that when closed to death, the spiritual energy around will ripple slightly, which is completely untrue. And the spiritual energy inside the cave also rippled for a month. It is said that no one has ever been able to shut down for such a long time. The demon must have been seriously injured, but now he is pretending. And this is her best opportunity. She can deliberately seduce the other person and they are happiest and most alert. With her beauty and a hint of seductive skills, the demon must have been bewitched by 5 or 3. There will be no defense at all. Moreover, her free-giving behavior yesterday must have made the demon think that she really fell in love with her, so as to relax our vigilance. A foolproof solution. A truly foolproof solution. The princess of Zhennan became excited again. I feel like everything is under control. After changing clothes in a hurry, he walked to the yard of Wudong. Now, she needs to quickly go back and read the booklet with various postures. Embrace a learning attitude. What a seductive demon. Demon, you just wait to die. The queen is full of confidence. End of this chapter.